Go find Swalwell and get this over with. It's time to do it now. Then we'll see how brave the rest of them are. Either follow up, either Swalwell or Nadler has to die before the election. They need to get the message. And just not putting up with this again.
This morning, Mediate released the audio you just heard of Roger Stone in the weeks leading up to the 2020 election, speaking with then police officer Sal Greco and plotting the assassination of prominent Democrats. So Eric Swalwell, others that he has had a long time beef with, a vendetta with. He was talking about assassinating them. Now, before the video had been released, we had been told by Mediaite in their reporting earlier this week that he had said those things. And Stone wrote on Twitter, "I never spoke about assassinating anyone. Fake Mediaite can't produce the recording they claim to have." In another post, he wrote that Mediaite has produced no audio of me threatening 2 Dem congressmen. Where is it? Post it. So they did, as you just heard. And in response to that, he says, "Total nonsense. I've never said anything of the kind, more AI manipulation." Well, I'm convinced. I think he's good. Because honestly, Brett, it didn't really seem to fit that Roger Stone would be making buffoonish Dick Tracy-esque threats against those he disagrees with. So I am reassured in learning that it's just a deep fake or something. Damn kids with their iPhones. What do you think?
It is the perfect response in Roger Stone's mind based on what he thinks of his audience. His audience thinks that you can just say AI, and they are so convinced the deep state is this nefarious underworld that they'll be like, AI, I don't really know how that would work or what that would be, but he did say a buzzword. I'm familiar with blaming for what's wrong with the world, so it must be AI, and I'll let him off the hook. Meanwhile, the inherent hypocrisy and irony in like those people are generally the ones who think that there is this deep state cabal secretly plotting the assassinations of their political rivals. And here we have the auditory proof of him doing the exact same thing, and they are so blinded by their tribalism and in such like a coke smoke, rage and fury and fever dream that they're gonna be like, Roger Stone, let's just let it slide.
Yeah, look, it's a combination of a few things. I think your read on how he views the base is definitely true. I think another aspect of the way that he views the base is, I think he, for like the shallowest sort of legal protection purposes, needs to lie and say that that is not an authentic recording. I don't know if he's gonna face any legal challenges. It's 2024 in America, so I think you can just plot to assassinate people. I think that that's actually cool now. But he also doesn't want to like come out and say, that wasn't me, it's AI manipulation. I would never say anything like that because I think violence against our political opponents is the worst thing. He's never gonna say anything like that because he knows that the base that he cares the most about likes the idea that he said that about Swalwell and others. He wants to kill people he disagrees with for a variety of different reasons, and the people that like him want him to kill people that he disagrees with. Like, he might face legal troubles for this, and to you and I, it seems insane that you would be plotting to kill congressmen. But there are millions of Americans that are desperately hoping that someday we will cross that line and the guns will come out and we'll start shooting all the people that believe in something different than us in politics. So there's a little bit of that in it as well. Just for the record though, not only do they have the recording, also, it's consistent with things that he said on videotape before when he had an embedded documentary crew. Also, Mediaite has other sources that have heard him talking in this particular way that have confirmed it, saying that he was not joking around, that he talked about it often. Also, Sal Greco, the guy that he was talking to, did not deny that conversation when Mediaite reported to him. Like, yes, AI could duplicate someone's voice. You could make Bernie saying those things, but what you could not do is have it be consistent with his entire political vibe and also have multiple sources who are willing to go on the record to either confirm that it happened or at the very least not deny that the conversation had taken place. So it's not, again, he's barely even denying it. My question is, will anything come from this? Brett, I would assume not, but what do you think?
No, because their legal defense. Okay. One time I was on vacation and I was in Barcelona, and me and this girl, it was a friend of mine, we're walking down the street. It's like sunrise, and in the distance we see this guy running as fast as he can at our face. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have to be a hero? I don't know how. He's sprinting at us. And I'm like, I'm going to die here in Barcelona at sunrise. And the guy gets about 2 feet in front of me, and he just like lunges at me and kind of does a head fake and runs past me. And his buddies in the distance yell, "Don't worry about him. He's crazy." And that's what it's like dealing with Roger Stone. It's like he's doing these things that are menacing, horrible, plotting to kill political figures, and people on his side are like, "Don't worry about him. He's just crazy."
Yeah.
That's going to be his legal defense. It's the same as Tucker Carlson. It's like, it's not actually news. We're doing all these things and saying all these things that are, if you think about them, horrible, immoral, and in many cases illegal. But he's got a tattoo of Nixon on his back, and he wears those silly sunglasses. So don't take him that seriously. You can't, after all, he isn't able to kill Eric Swalwell, but it's like, what am I supposed to do? And meanwhile, they want to look at a bunch of people who aren't nearly as menacing as they're, whether it's an immigrant or someone on the other side, like who has a laptop and did some drugs and showed his wiener on some photos. And they want those people locked up, but not the people on their side who are saying, let's kill Eric Swalwell.
100%. Yeah. By the way, I love that what happened to you is like straight out of Get Out, like scary, like running at the guy and then swerving. Yeah, that is kind of the defense. I guess that's the defense. I just, I hate that we live in a country where we have people like Roger Stone who are like fundamentally to their core pathetic, scared little lackeys. They're the secondary bully in A Christmas Story. Like, they're not going to do anything, but they attach themselves like parasites to men that they think are strong and just say, just please protect me and give me some power and kill anyone that I'm afraid of. And we have people like that. And maybe he'll never do anything. Maybe Roger Stone will never pull the trigger, or far more likely will never convince or con someone that he sees as a stronger man to do it for him. But maybe he will. Like, if the machine guns had come out on January 6th, they brought a couple of AR-15s and they started gunning down Congress people. Does anyone think that Roger Stone would be like, "No, we've gone too far. Everyone back up. This is not what this movement is about"? No, he would be perfectly fine with that, because again, he doesn't have any confidence whatsoever in what he stands in, his ability of either himself or his movement to convince people of his position, the inherent popularity of anything that he stands for. What he needs, and what all fascists like him need, is for the people who outnumber him, the majority who do not believe in his ideology, to be killed, or at least cowed, or at least blocked from voting. And there will always be people like Roger Stone who are desperate to see that happen. And it takes a Donald Trump to make him a relevant figure. Absent Donald Trump, there'd be no reason that we'd have to think about Roger Stone. But with Donald Trump getting back into the White House potentially this year, Roger Stone could be the deputy chief of staff or something for all we know. He could be comms head. He could be press secretary. But quick final point goes to you, Brett, and then we'll move on.
It's the thankless role of the decent. Right? There is this thing we all had to do, that people like Mike Pence even had to do on January 6th, which was like, no, let's keep America, and tell these indecent psychopaths that they can't just undo it. And then there's, in the history books, what are they going to write, an article that says like, oh, it didn't happen? Sort of, they are going to do that, but there's all those other like paragraphs in the history books that were like, well, they should have seen it coming on January 6th, but the judo skills of right-wing propagandists were such that they actually kind of got away with it until the next time when they were allowed to. And meanwhile, that whole group's theme is our giant overreach of government, and they're playing that card as hard as they can when, really people are just trying to be responsible.
I'm gonna end very briefly by saying the only time that I'm not sure if you were there at this particular, the only time I've ever seen Roger Stone in person.
You were there.
You knew that this is what I was gonna say?
Yeah.
You knew that this was, okay. So we're at the RNC. Alex Jones storms onto our set or whatever. There is a small group of acolytes of InfoWars or whatever, like enough that it's like kind of like a tight little crowd. And so Cenk and Alex Jones are like kaiju battling or whatever, face to face. And Roger Stone like pops out of the crowd to be like, me. And then he fades like Homer back into a bush. Like he's not on the stage. He's not gonna back up Alex Jones. He's just like, man, petty thing. And then he just hides. That is 100% who he is. He's the guy that yells to the bully, yeah, Johnny, get him. And then he's gone because he doesn't want to get socked in the face.
And just before Jimmy Dore spits iced tea on someone, what a weird sentence. Cenk goes, you're a hatchet man, Roger Stone.
What a weird event. Remember when we used to like go places? Anyway, weird things happened before the pandemic. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.